If history's taught us anything, it's that queens come in many forms. In the 1500s, we saw the last monarch of the Tudor dynasty. This virgin queen, as she was known, ruled with a modest hand and refused to marry to produce an heir. Many of her subjects admired her charisma, and the theater flourished during her reign. The 1700s brought us the last queen of France. The Dauphine came to her position as a teen through an arranged marriage. Initially, her subjects loved her, but contempt for the royal family's lavish lifestyle and the French Revolution saw an end to her short reign and her short life. In more modern times, being a queen does not always mean being born into royalty. Another queen whose history stems from the 1800s is the drag queen. Drag queens embody the power of creative expression, the art of performance, and the importance of acceptance. Also in the 1800s, beauty pageants emerged, and with that we saw the rise of the beauty queen. Nowadays, pageants judge their queens not only on beauty, but talent, intelligence, and personality, celebrating and empowering women by providing scholarships for furthering their educations. In the 1970s, a band formed in England, led by a charismatic frontman named Freddie. With 18 #1 albums and 18 #1 singles, the band is considered one of the best-selling of all time, making them musical royalty. In the future, queens will continue to take many new forms, which led me to create my version of a futuristic queen for the NYX Face Awards. Before I get started with this tutorial, I wanted to ask you guys to please go over to NYXFaceAwards.com and vote for me, Goldiestarling. I will have the link below in the description box. You'll be able to vote up to 3 times daily up until May 24th. I would really appreciate your help to get to the next round, so let's do it, guys. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. To start off my queen, I applied a plastic bald cap. And to do this, I wet my hair and brushed it into a tight, low ponytail. Then I placed the cap onto my head and began gluing down the edges. I always start gluing the forehead edge down first to give the cap an anchor point, and then I'll go ahead and continue gluing down the perimeter edges. Once the cap was glued down, I melted off the edges using a bit of acetone and the handy dandy Q-tips. For my eyebrows, I blocked out the texture using a washable glue stick. I did about 2 to 3 coats of the glue, letting each layer dry between applications. Next, to conceal the darkness of my brows, I applied NYX's Dark Circle Concealer in Light with the number 31 brush. This concealer has a peach tone to it, and that's going to cancel out the blue that's found in most shadows, which is why I also applied it to the dark circles underneath my eyes, as well as to the bald cap where my hairline was showing through. On the bald cap, however, I used the Teardrop blending sponge to apply the concealer, since I had a much larger surface to cover. With the NYX HD finishing powder and the multi-formula dual-sided sponge, I set that concealer in place. And I lightly tap the powder into the concealer as to not disturb its concealing duties. For the rest of my face, I applied the NYX Total Control Drops Foundation in Vanilla with the Clarisonic Sonic Foundation brush attached to the Mia 2. This was my first time applying foundation with the Clarisonic, and I found it did a really good job, but it's very important to use a light hand when applying the foundation. I also found it really helpful to buff it in with circular motions. On the forehead area in particular, I tapped the brush over the area lightly, again to not disturb the layer of concealer underneath. Then I went ahead and set everything in place with another layer of the HD finishing powder. When designing my queen, I knew I wanted to use purple since it is a color closely associated with royalty, so I chose the purple SFX cream color. I wanted the purple to create a halo effect around the face and neck. And I first started by sponging on the color, then I used the number 4 brush, and I stippled the purple to create a softer edge between my skin tone and the purple. I did bring that purple around my chin to keep in line with the halo effect that I was going for. With the number 25 brush, I set the SFX Creme with NYX's Hot Singles eyeshadow in Ultraviolet. This eyeshadow is a cool toned matte purple, and it helped to deepen the SFX Creme to the color that I envisioned. Moving on to the eyes, I applied the Jumbo Pencil in Purple Velvet. Purple Velvet, what a great name, with the number 9 brush. I stippled a wing shape that extended upwards into the bald cap. Then I blended a little bit of the purple SFX Creme into the outer wing. I really wanted to marry those two colors together. On top of that Jumbo Pencil, I applied NYX's Prismatic Shadow in Blue Jeans with the number 16 brush. I blended this color all over the lid, up into the bald cap, and then used it to lightly contour the bridge of my nose. Next, I contoured the rest of my face with the Ultraviolet eyeshadow. This eyeshadow is getting a lot of action in this tutorial. I used the number 24 brush to define my cheekbones and underneath my jawline. To the inner corner of the eye, I used the number 30 brush to apply the Prismatic shadow in Frostbite. This shadow has a duochrome that worked quite nicely with the blue jeans. Since I've already framed my whole face with purple, I guess it's time to go ahead and frame the eyes using rhinestones. I applied a thin layer of medical grade adhesive, then I placed the rhinestones onto my brow to flow with the shape of the shadow wing. A good tip to help pick up rhinestones is to wet a Q-tip, then you won't lose as many to gravity. For a light flush of pink to the cheek, I applied the NYX Ombre blush in Codebreaker with the number 21 brush. Next, I brought in a bit of highlight to the tops of my cheeks using the lavender shade in the Strobe of Genius Illuminating palette. I swept this on using the number 26 brush, and I also swept this onto my nose and above my lips. Underneath my eyes, I applied the Blue Jeans Prismatic shadow again. I used the number 29 brush to connect the upper wing shape to the lower lid. With NYX's Pigment and Diamond, I highlighted the inner corner of my eyes. I applied the More to Love mascara in black, then I added a bit of the Wonder Pencil to the inner rim of my eye. And of course I couldn't forget false lashes, so I popped on the Wicked Lashes and Lay 'Em On Me. To finish off the eyes and add a little more sparkle, because this queen, she needs to be sparkling, I placed 3 more rhinestones underneath each eye. Then I used the Ultraviolet eyeshadow and the number 11 brush to shade around each stone. For the neck and chest design, I applied the purple SFX Creme. I kept a V-shaped area of skin showing on my neck to keep the idea of a halo of purple around my face and also around my neck. Just like I did with the face, I patted the Ultraviolet shadow on top of the purple cream. This queen is addicted to shine, so I went ahead and added the diamond pigment on top of all of the purple. This pigment shifts from blue to silver and it looked really amazing in person. And hopefully in the future our skin will be able to shift colors like this. Wouldn't that be just the coolest? For even more glow, I added the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist, and this bottle totally goes with my color scheme. Now it's time for lips. I filled in my lip shape using the Suede Matte Lip Liner in Amethyst. Then I applied the matching liquid suede cream lipstick in Amethyst as well. And to the center of my lips, I patted on the NYX Cosmic Metals Lip Cream in Asteroid Aura. This color is a gorgeous magenta with a silver shimmer. Finally, to add a little depth to the corners of my lips, I patted on the Ultraviolet eyeshadow with the number 30 brush. And before I can put on my crown, I wanted to share with you guys how I made it. I started with a floral foam ring, which you can find at most craft stores. I cut out a section and placed it on my head. I continued to shave off excess foam until it fit securely in place, and was comfortable on my head. Next, I marked the ring into 2-inch sections approximately. I will be poking bamboo skewers, which you can find at grocery stores by the way, through the foam ring to form a support structure for the ring once it's placed on my head. I placed the ring onto a live cast, and then I began to poke the skewers through the foam. This took me more than a few tries to get right, but luckily foam is forgiving. Then I cut the skewers on the outer portions of the ring down. I wanted them to gradually get shorter. Once it starts to look like a wheel, you're ready to hot glue the skewers into place. Now here comes the fun part, the rhinestoning process. I spent all afternoon and a better part of the next morning gluing rhinestones to the surface of the foam ring. Looking back, maybe I would have gone with glitter, but I really do love how the rhinestones look, so I'm happy I committed 9 hours of my life to this crown. And I finished off the crown by hot gluing crystals to the ends of the skewers and to the inner portion of the crown. You just can't have enough crystals on a crown, apparently. And just look at her glow. Guess it's time for coronation. With the crown in place, I then added my final rhinestones. I placed them along the edges of the purple halo around my face. Whether you are a Marie or an Elizabeth, a Freddie or a drag queen, or just love beauty, there's a queen inside all of us. And now's the time to embrace your future, my queens. I really hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for the support. If you'd like to keep up with me, check out my Instagram and Twitter, and also hit the notification bell on my channel. Otherwise, I hope to see you soon, Team Starling.